Good afternoon or evening or morning. Today what we're going to take a look at is the AP exam. So this will just be an overall introduction to what this exam looks like, the different aspects of it. So we'll go in more depth in a later video about each different part of it and in greater detail and how you can get the points awarded by College Board. But today we're just going to simply look over the basic setup of the exam. First of all, there's the first section, which is multiple choice. You'll have 55 multiple choice questions in 55 minutes. This will equate to 40% of your exam score. Now, what this will look like is you'll have groupings of questions. So you'll have either a short paragraph to read, you might have a map, you might have a graph, something like that, and then you'll have to answer 3 or 4 questions that relate directly to whatever information they've given you. Now, something that I do want to make sure that students understand is you are not going to find those answers to those questions directly in the reading material they've given you. What that is, they refer to that as a stimulus question. So they might give you a speech from Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War to help stimulate your brain, to help you get into that time period, and maybe help you recall what they're describing there. And then they might ask you a question about what was one of his policies that he used for when he ran for president. So again, they've given you something about Lincoln, and now they're saying, what else do you know about Lincoln? Now, again, the speech might, if you knew something in particular that he ran on, that it could be the speech helps you get there, or it helps allude to that, but it's likely not going to directly say something that's going to answer the question. So it's very good to read those very carefully to make sure that you understand what all is going on in the quote or the graph or the chart. But I also want you to know that in a lot of them, they're not going to be directly answered by that. They're going to lead you in the right direction. The next part of the exam is the short answer portion. The short answer portion, they're going to give you 3 separate questions, and on each question, you're going to have 3 different components of that individual question. So this is where you're going to have, again, either some kind of picture, image, map, chart, graph, primary source, secondary source, and you are going to have to answer those questions in a short answer format, which short answer format I've always described as answering it by giving a proper noun, something specific, person, place, thing, idea, or event, with an explanation as to how that specific example answers the question. And so again, you have a breakdown here of the different time periods that those questions will be included on. Next thing is going to be section 2, the document-based question. This is where you're going to be given 7 documents. And in those 7 documents, you're going to have to piece them together and write an essay. They do give you the time period that it will be from 1754 to 1980. So it's not going to be at the very beginning period or very end period on what was covered in class. But again, you're going to have to sort these. You're going to have to be able to break them down and understand what each document is the meaning of it. And then you're going to have to be able to piece that together into paragraph form. And again, we'll go over in greater detail how to do this document-based question in a later video. Then you're going to have a long essay. So this is one essay question. You have 40 minutes to do that here. And you're going to be given some options to which to choose from. And you pick which essay prompt you want, and you will be given the rest of the time to do that. Again, we'll go into that in more detail later, but you'll be given, the thing that you do know up front is you'll be given 3 options from 3 different time periods. You'll have one essay prompt from 1491 to 1800. You'll have another prompt from 1800 to 1898, and you'll have a third prompt from 1890 to 2001. So you will get to choose the question you're most comfortable with over which to write that essay. That's it. That's the test. Notice the breakdown. And to show you some of the examples from last year on the exam, which after the exam, they will actually release the free response questions. So here's a copy of last year's free response question. So here is what the here is your short answer question. Yes. So notice they give you two quotes here, and they then ask you to describe a major difference between the interpretation, one event that is not mentioned that supports their arguments. Here's another short answer question where they show you this image and they ask you to briefly describe a perspective that's expressed in the image. And then lastly, they just ask you a question, ask you questions directly about the colonies. And again, that's a short answer question. Here is your document-based question. You have instructions, and then here's the document. So you have this written one, another written source, written, it looks like that's from the governor, letter to the president from NAACP, and then you have this political cartoon there about, this is about the prohibition. So that's what the document-based question looked like. And then here at the end, you have finally, you get to pick your essay. So they gave you a question about evaluate the extent to which self-government influenced American colonial reaction to British imperial authority. Evaluate the extent to which the debates of slavery led to the United States entry into the Civil War. Evaluate the extent to which ideas about democracy contributed to the African American civil rights movement. So again, you got to choose out of those three which one you wanted to write the essay over. So hopefully as you go throughout the year, you see, I want you thinking in the back of your head as you're writing essays, as you're answering short answer questions, as you're going over multiple choice questions. This is the setup of the exam. The course is designed in a way to help prepare you for that, and that a lot of your questions on your exams will have those stimulus. And a lot of times in class discussions and in debates, we're going to be asking you to give specific examples supporting your argument. So that's it. That is the AP US History exam. I hope this at least gave you some overview of what that would look like. All right. That's all I've got for you today.